We're back, and I'm excited to be back. First of all, let me explain the gap. You know, when we finished that Ulysses thing, that was huge. That was a big project, and you know, it's been almost a year. I'm kind of embarrassed, but when we finished that, I was ready to do some other stuff, and then because of work and life stuff, I just got too busy to do it. Then I planned out this massively huge video on a musical piece that I think you'll really enjoy, and some interesting background. And I gathered up all these notes and images and all this stuff, and I just never could sit down and get the time. It's probably going to be a three-parter. My internet is fast, but the upload is slow, and those Ulysses videos would take sometimes all night to upload, 13, 14 hours. So I just wasn't ready for something that huge. And the other day I was thinking, gosh, it's been all this time. People ask me about what's the next book, what other books are we going to do? And I wanted to do different stuff, with music and opera and some things, and we'll do that. But I decided we got to get back on this book thing. Because first of all, I miss you guys. I miss the notes. I miss hearing from you. I feel like I know you. And I want to get us back on track. So, couple of announcements. Number one is I have a bunch of websites. You know one of them because you've been going there to see some of the stuff from our Ulysses venture. But I have another website, and I'm going to build a discussion board. And that'll be really cool because here on YouTube, we can't really interact. You put a comment, I can put an answer. But if you want to discuss something with other readers, you really can't do it. And if you have a question, I can answer the question, but we can't really dialogue on stuff. So I'm going to build us a message board where you can actually go in and say, hey, have you read this? Let's talk about that. Hey, I recommend the next book. I like the book we're working on. You'll be able to interact, and not just with me, but with each other. So I'm building that now. That's going to be really cool, and I should have that done by next week. Okay, so it'll be on a new website and a really cool discussion board. I have it set up. It works fine. I've tested it. I just want to get the website a little bit better so that there's something there besides just this discussion board. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Books. Let's talk about books. So I have a book that I'd like us to do next. Now, Ulysses was heavy-duty stuff. I don't want to do anything that heavy, where it takes a year to grind through a book. So, it's like page by page of War and Peace. Not going to happen. The only book that I really consider worth that kind of effort is Ulysses anyway. Now, I'll probably get some comment on that. But, I love that book. I think it's very interesting, and I think it's worth the effort. But a lot of other books you can figure out, you can enjoy them without that sort of, years of study to get through a novel. So this book, the next book that we're going to do, see if you can figure it out, is going to be fun. It's one of my favorites, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. And I have some books lined up for us to cover. And I want us to cover all books that are better level, not today's bestsellers kind of stuff, not some of this junky mystery junk that's out there, or war stuff, or murder stories. I want to give us some quality books. So this is going to be better stuff, Nobel Prize class stuff, Pulitzer, good quality literature. So the author that I've selected for this, because I want us to have some fun, and this one is I think going to entertain you. He was born in 1905. Maybe that'll give you a clue. Won a Pulitzer Prize in 1976, and he also won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1976. That's interesting. It's double duty there in 1976. And the author is Saul Bellow. Now, you think Saul Bellow, you've probably heard of him. And the book I've selected is insert picture here. Henderson the Rain King. I love this book. I read it a few years ago, and I'm looking forward to reading it again. So I hope you'll pick it up. Go to Amazon and get it, or wherever you can. Buy it used if you like. And the first video on this book will be about a week from now. And this won't be a 32 episode book. This will be rather easy. There might be 1 or 2 videos, maybe, because I don't want them to go long like we did on the other stuff. But I think you're really going to enjoy this book. Again, Henderson the Lion King. Good grief. Henderson the Rain King. I probably said Lion King earlier because I've got that in my mind, and I can see the picture on my screen here, and it's a lion. And as you see from the, let me pull this up again so you can see it. There's the book cover. It came in 2 different covers, so I wanted you to see these so you wouldn't think, gee, is this the right book? Am I buying the wrong one? It's Henderson the Rain King by Saul Bellow, and it has 2 different covers, as you can see from the picture here. So our first video will come out in about a week. So if you can get your hands on the book, buy it used. You can pick it up for $5. It's a good book, and I think it's one of those books that's worth owning. And you know, a lot of people are library fans. They check them in. They don't want to spend the money. They check out the book, check them back in, get rid of them. To me, when it's a good quality book, I like to own it. I like to pick it up. I like to look at it. Now, I have this thing I can't mark in a book. Some people can make notes all over books, and the next time they read it, they love to see those notes. I'm not one of those guys. I can't bring myself to mark in a book. Probably our elementary school training of never write in a book. But I just can't bring myself to mark up a book. But I do like to pick it up. Now, I suspect I probably have a little dyslexia or something. I'm a slow reader. And you guys remember from the Ulysses videos when I would try to read something out loud, it's kind of clunky. So I like to have the book so that I can ponder it and remember stuff. So when I'm going to make one of these videos, I can look at the book and say, oh yeah, I want to be sure I say something about that or something about this. So I like to have the book, and I like to keep it. To me, when you finish a very important book, it's a monumental piece of you, and I like to have that book. I like to have it on the shelf. And when I think of, didn't Saul Bellow say something about it? I like to be able to go in the book and look through it and remember my experience. So anyway, to make a long story short, or a short story long, as I tend to do, I think this book is worth owning. I like it. I like owning it. I think it's worth buying. You can get it at a library. It's readily available. But it is worth buying. And if you get one, get it in decent condition so it doesn't fall apart. And it's probably worth getting a hardcover if you can find one at a reasonable price, because it is a really good book, and it should be a part of your library. So I want to give you a quote from Saul Bellow. I think it's, get us in the mood. He was referring to the novel form, and he said, a novel is balanced between a few true impressions and the multitude of false ones that make up most of what we call life. Boy, I think that's it. You know, I think Joyce would have loved that quote because, of course, Joyce was meticulous about detail, and he wrote fiction. You know, so here's how do you do extreme detail of truth when you're writing fiction. And what he's saying here is that there are a few true impressions, you know, the things that resonate with us that we can say, wow, I can see that happening, or I experienced that, or I really relate to that. And then there's a multitude of false ones that we call life. I think that's a sweet, interesting quote. And that feeling from this guy really comes through in this Henderson the Rain King. You're going to love this book, and I hope you'll join me for this adventure. It's a beautiful book. It's not a hard read at all. We don't have to, buy 76 guides to get through it. And I think our videos will be more about discussion than they'll be about, stuff you don't understand, because this book is very easy to follow. It's a very pleasant read. and it's a fun book, and Bello has a great sense of humor, so there's a lot of funny stuff throughout. So here's the plan. I'm going to work on this website and our discussion board so we have a place we can meet and talk and chat and exchange ideas that's a little better than YouTube comments. No criticism there. Now, in a week, I'll post the first video. Maybe it might be 8 days or 9 days, but about a week, I'll get the first video. So right now, get the book. I'll put a link in the description if you want. I think I have some affiliate deal. I might get a dime if you buy the book through the link. But if you're going to buy it used anyway, it really doesn't matter. So buy it however that works for you. I do recommend buying it though, because as I said before, it's worth having in your personal library. So about a week from now, the first video will be up. We'll talk about the book. I'll probably do two videos. I think will be enough. It'll be a sort of a first half and second half. So if you can get your hands on the book and start reading, we can start talking about it as soon as next week. And then I have a bunch of other books lined up, and I'll give you a heads up so that it's not like, hey, here's the next book, and tomorrow there's a quiz. Won't be like that. I'll give you plenty of notice. So I'll tell you what the next book is going to be in the next video. So get your hands on Henderson the Lion King. Did it again. Henderson the Rain King. Forgive me. And you're going to love this book, and I look forward to interacting with you again. Thanks. See you soon. Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks. Bye.